Hey folks, just a little catch up on what we're doing with this 2012 GMC Acadia SLT. We got the box in, we got the plate in, I got the wiring hooked up and everything in there, and I tell you, by pre-greasing all that stuff, it made everything clamp in pretty easy. So we got the grounds all hooked up. So the fuse box is all set up. We've now got the radiator in, and we're going to be working on the bumper assembly, the air intake, and also hooking up the fuel line. And there's no battery up here. You guys guess where the battery is located, but it's definitely not in the engine compartment. So we got a few main connectors here to go for the ECM and everything. But yeah, we got everything hooked up. The wire loom is pretty much where we need it to be. We're down to the final connections to get everything connected and hooked up so that we can maybe get this thing to have a first start here eventually. But we do have to get a few of the needed items put in. We're not going to have the full front end put on it, but what we do want to do is get it to the point that we have all the fluids filled, transmission, oil, coolant, brake fluid, everything that we need to have. And then of course we're going to crank it over by disconnecting the 25 amp FSCM fuse, which is a fuel system control module or something like that. They don't call it injectors on this thing. But yeah, we're going to get it to the point that we have that. Crank it over, get some oil, flowing in that. And then we're going to go ahead and once it's started and running, then we'll go ahead and start working on the last minute stuff, such as all the connectors and the bumper cover and the sensors and everything else that go into the bumper. But for right now, this is where we're at, and making good headway. We do have the the drive shafts installed. We have the exhaust system installed. All the wiring has been zip tied together because that's apparently a GM thing. They use a lot of zip ties on their vehicles. Got that all done. Got the exhaust system tied and hooked up. Oxygen sensors, all that. We still have to do the front and get the parts and everything put together. I cleaned up the knuckle, that aluminum knuckle there. I cleaned that up. We're going to anti-seize it and then put the wheel bearings in and get that done. And then, of course, put the front end axles in and everything before we start it, because we don't want transmission flowing out, right, Jeff?
Correct.
And get that all put together. And then we could probably start it. We want to make sure we get that all taken care of. But in the meantime, we got the fan here and the front bumpers and everything else we need. That's the air inbox, the intake that we have to work with. That's right over there. And I painted the splash shield. Jeff did the other one, so I went ahead and painted and got rid of the rust on it. So at least it'll give it a little bit of extra lifespan before it has to fall apart from rust here in Iowa. But overall, we're getting close. Don't know if we'll get a start yet, but hey, we're going to work on it through the night and then in tomorrow, and who knows, maybe we'll actually be able to turn it over and show you that it actually does run. Or like any GM product, it may just blow up. We don't know. Our fingers are crossed that it's not the latter. But that's where we're at for now. We're going to go ahead and update you some more, but we got an airbox to install because apparently you can't take an airbox out without removing the front end of the car, which is really weird. Oh, by the way, if you didn't know where the battery is, for those of you who own GMCs, you probably all know, but those of you who don't own a GMC, yes, the battery is right there. Passenger side rear on the floorboard. That's where the battery is. Jeff was playing a joke on me. He's telling me how to do the battery, and I couldn't find any leads or anything. I'm not a GMC type person, so I was looking all over for the battery terminals until he informed me that they're not here. So anyway, his joke on me, although I've done jokes on him too. So anyway, this is where we're at. We're going to go ahead and get more work done. Maybe we'll have a startup this weekend. If not, it'll be soon after. All right, folks. We now have the front support in. Got it just loosely bolted in so that we can start putting the radiator in, condenser, and then start. Things are going to start getting tight, because now we got to start reaching back here to start getting the radiator, condenser, and the transcooler and everything hooked up. And yeah, getting there. But right now everything's just loosely bolted in. and we're trying to figure out what do we do next, because there's no instruction manual except for what's contained in this guy's head.
Don't count on that.
Well, he told me put the air box in it. He had me thinking it went in flat and the stupid thing goes in at an angle. So I struggled with that for a while till I realized that flat was not what the earth is made. It is round or at an angle. So yeah, we got that done. But hey, I'm going to say by tomorrow, this thing will have started its first time. Maybe tonight, but I doubt it. Tomorrow. I'm putting money on tomorrow. All right, a little bit of a catch up. As you can see, we are putting everything together. Right now we're working on the AC because we figured, hey, why not get it in there right now? So we're going to go ahead and get that done. Got the condenser, the radiator, and the fan assembly in now. Slid it all in, and this is the transmission cooler down below here. It fits in. It's tight, but it all fits in. Just cleaning these up to put new gaskets in them so we can get them bolted up. Then we got to reach in here and maneuver this back and forth here in order to get all the other hoses, the transmission lines and connectors and everything else situated. Then we'll go ahead and bolt it down with the other piece and get it ready to start checking all of our connections. And then maybe we'll start working on the suspension and axles, because we can't start it up without putting the axles in. Transmission fluid just pour out. So, yep, we got a little bit more work to do, but the suspension, that's easy. It's all this other tedious stuff that takes up the time. And if you guys haven't ever done something like this, tell you what, be prepared to spend a month of Sundays on it, as they say. And that's probably the truth, right, Jeff?
Yeah.
A Ford Edge, what? We tear the Ford Edge down in one weekend and put it back together?
That's a weekend.
Yeah, but this GMC, holy cow. I'm glad I don't own a GMC, but that's just me. Working away.
Got the fronts done.
Got the fronts done?
These.
Missing 2 bolts? What ones? I'm going to have to go help you look for those.
Just 2.
Can't we just throw any old bolt in there and call it a day?
We may.
Okay, well, don't you have a bolt bucket from leftover Ford parts to help fix the GM?
Correct. I think I have a bunch of Herbie parts.
Here, we'll use whatever bolt we can find. But it's just a subframe, right?
Just holding up the motor and training.
Oh, that's not really that important. We still have the ECU to do. Yeah, we got to get that. And that fits right in here. And then there's a bracket and everything that I think bolts on here to hold it so that it hangs down here and gets all the cool air from the fan. Then we'll get that hooked up. We got the coolant bottle up. We put some fluid in the power steering. We haven't done anything with the transmission yet. It's right down there. And we put engine oil in it. So we have to fill coolant up. We're getting there. But first, we got to do the subframes. Once they're done, then we're going to start putting the knuckles in, lower control arms, and all the other bits and pieces that we need to do to put this thing together so we can drop it down on its own 2 wheels, so we got a little more room to reach down and also to level fluids out and everything. So, yeah, we're getting there. It takes time. Like I said, tomorrow's probably the startup day, but today we'll make some decent headway. And then once we get there, we don't have that much further to go. I mean, plugging in an ECU and zip tying it together is not that hard. This does require zip ties for the ECU, right, Jeff?
It does.
Yeah, Chevy's idea of an ECU fix and attachment is zip ties. Comes in a package. So. And then you dangle it in front of the radiator and the fans and everything. So, but yeah, we're getting there. We got everything that we need to do. We just got to hook up the fuel line. We got that disconnected yet, but we're getting there. So, yep, bit by bit, we're getting there. and then we'll get this thing started. Not much longer. All right. I messed up, I'll admit it. But we're just basically doing a fit test on this. Our whole purpose on this is just to slap it together, tighten a few things snug, and get the tires on it so we can get it down on the ground. We'll come back and we'll put that back on, you know, and then re-torque everything the way it's supposed to be. Right now, nothing's torqued. It's just snug. We're really aiming just to get the tires on it. So we'll get the brake on their rotor, and then we'll slap some pads on it, get that snugged up just a little bit, and then we'll put it down, get a tie rod end on it that's missing, and then do that. Jeff went, of course, and like I said earlier, he went and got the, what do they call these? ECUs?
I don't know what
ECMs or PCMs or whatever you want to call it. It's sitting in here. He's got it all zip tied in or whatever he's got to do. And he haven't plugged it in yet.
Not yet.
But he's still trying to get everything hooked up the way it's supposed to be. Right now he's working on some stops here on top. And this whole unit went together pretty good. I'm impressed. The tolerances are pretty close, but everything did work out for the best. So we got it. He's also got the air intake going and getting that put up together while I was working on the suspension. Doing the grunt work down here a little bit. And got the new LCA in, new axle. Axle slid in like butter. Jeff was worried I was going to pinch fingers or something. That thing slid in like it was nothing. So, yeah, we did good. I have a feeling we're probably going to eventually here maybe call it a night. I don't know.
Yeah, I think we're about there. Not much left to do.
Then we'll hit it up tomorrow. And again, tomorrow I'll remember to put the splash guard on before I put the bearing in. But yeah, it's just another wash, you know, wet, lather, rinse, repeat on this side. And then we'll get it down on the ground. And then we can finish filling the coolant and transmission fluid, brake fluid. Got to make sure we got brake fluid. I don't think you did much of the brake though, did you?
With the brake fluid?
Yeah.
No, nothing with the brake fluid.
Okay, so the brake fluid don't even need to be touched.
No.
So
Power steering
is what we filled up. We're letting it leak down. We'll see what it does overnight.
PTU.
And the PTU is filled.
Oil the motor.
And we put 5 quarts so far in the motor. We'll check that in the morning, make sure it's got leaked down. We'll also look for any leaks because we're filling up a few things. And then we'll go ahead and probably start it tomorrow. But until then, I think that's just about it for tonight. We'll catch you all up here on the next morning, because before you know it, it will be next morning. And Jeff will say, good morning.
Good morning. Good night.
Good night and good morning.
Good night and good morning.
Thank you for watching MACT's videos, and remember to like and subscribe. This is a Mercy Go production.